Hey, so today I wanted to talk about something that is technically kind of random, but it's also more of me ranting, like kind of in an annoying fashion about something I hate. And I always like beat around the bush to like say like, hey, what is this thing that I hate? But it's literally the fucking title. I hate Hollywood. Now it's like, okay, well that's fucking random. You hate Hollywood, and I've never been to Hollywood. I've never been to California. I'm not from California. I'm also not from Texas because the internet has a strange view of people who hate California or people who hate Texas. Because apparently hating California is like a right wing thing to do, and hating Texas is a leftist thing to do. I don't fucking understand it, and I don't give a shit. I'm gonna be honest. I just don't like California as a whole, but I think Hollywood is like one of those places where it's just complete utter ass. Like I'm pretty sure like Hollywood has like the most amount of like human shit on the streets and sidewalks. Also, I'm pretty sure California has the highest homelessness rate, which I did look up just so I could say that. Because I knew it was either California or New York, but New York is second place. So hell yeah, New York, you're not first. But this isn't just like California, right? Because there's good aspects of California. I think Hollywood is one of the worst fucking places possibly in America. And people can be like, "Oh, well, that's not true," because we have a subjective idea of what we think the worst place in America would be. Because we could even say like a small town in the middle of bumblefuck nowhere. We can say that an entire state. We could be like, "Oh, Montana is the fucking problem." We can say that no, Pensacola, that town in Florida, that's the problem. We can throw shade and point fingers at every different place. But my reasoning for why I think Hollywood is such a bad place is because, well, firstly, it's in California, which I just fucking hate California. And also, yes, I hate Texas as well. I hate both of them. I'm not fucking picking a side. I hate both of them. But I hate California as a whole. And I Hollywood has like a monstrous history of just being one of the worst fucking places because Hollywood is the capital of rich people, the capital of rich douchebag. And I'm not one of those people. Okay, I'm not one of those people that hates rich people for being rich. Okay, I'm not that person. I'm not those people who like threaten the lives of people just because they have more money than me. No, I'm not that type of person. I'm not hating them because they're rich. I'm just saying that people in Hollywood are usually incredibly fucking rich. Well, other than the abundance of homeless people that are also there because Hollywood's, not a good place. But my point being, this is a weird video because it's like, well, what the fuck? What the fuck with Hollywood, right? I don't know. Hollywood itself as a whole almost seems to cause like these like terrible people to just come out of the woodworks because you have like Hollywood execs and you have like all these like people who work in Hollywood, like a lot of the things in Hollywood are movie and TV show related because Hollywood is the center of it all. It's got the most filming places and all that kind of shit. Hollywood's the number one in that, right? And that makes sense. That's why it's called fucking Hollywood. That's why Hollywood is the place of the stars, the rich and the stars. But Hollywood, ever since its inception, has always been like a shitty place. A place full of like exploitation and just like death. Like you always think about like back in the day, right? Like back in those old days of the old films and the weird shit. What the fuck is on my arm? Almost dropped my phone while checking out my arm. Anyway, Hollywood, like back in the day, there were like those like things where like those sleazy Hollywood execs would like like there'd be like a woman who's like, I want the role for Betty Linda in the movie Chocolate Rain. I don't fucking know. Anyway, like they'd ask for a role and they'd be like, well, Toots, if you want the role, you know what you gotta do. It was always that, right? And, they're like Hollywood has a really bad track record in the past of basically just like exploiting like the actors and all that kind of shit. But I've always hated Hollywood for just like this whole like kind of just like rich it's like the stereotypical like rich snobby place, right? You expect like the dude driving like a fucking lowrider, or not even a lowrider, like a what do you fucking call it? I don't know, a convertible or something. I think that's what that's called when the top goes down. They drive like the convertible of like an old style car. They have like fucking golden teeth. They're wearing shades and they wear the shades indoors. And their wife has had like fucking 30 plastic surgeries. And like I don't know if I really hate Hollywood as much as I say, or if maybe I just kind of hate the like Hollywood as in the companies, as in the filming studios, the executives, the big wigs that work out in Hollywood. Because like I said, back in the day there was a lot of exploitation, but nowadays Hollywood is just full of fucking a bunch of fucking blowhards who just kind of just stroke each other's dicks and lick each other's clits and just kind of talk about how fucking great they are while they make shitty shows and shitty movies, and their morals constantly flip and flop because 1 second they'll grandstand and lecture people through their movies, kind of making a movie so they can shit talk the viewer and be like, you're an ignorant piece of shit. Meanwhile, they'll then distribute the movie to China where they'll take the message out of the movie so that they can make it more appropriate for a tyrannical fucking country. Like, Hollywood is full of fucking sleazy hypocrites that just like they went like, granted, is it better than like the exploitative ways that Hollywood used to have? Yeah. But I've always had like this strange hatred of Hollywood solely based around the film industry that's around there. From the exploitations of the past to the fucking idiots of today that make these shitty movies and shows that have completely driven most of the audience away from even watching movie or TVs in general. Because let's be honest, it kind of just feels like a lot of people don't watch shows anymore. Like a lot of shows are just like a lot of shows and movies like don't even get like people watching it sometimes. So like when something actually comes out and it gets watched, like like Wednesday or something, like it's like a big deal. But I always hated Hollywood for just how like sleazy it was, right? And now it's not even like sleazy. It's almost like, I don't know. It's kind of just like this place full of like just complete fucking morons, I guess. Because like everything they make, like they're Hollywood in itself, like the people who work in Hollywood are like two sides, right? And it's the same two sides that the internet is always having, isn't it? It's the same two sides that you hear every single day when you go on Twitter. You go on Twitter and you see a political spat, you see a social spat, you see a fucking continental spat, you see a dick spat, ass spat, you see all the fucking shit, and then you kind of realize like, oh great, the two sides are at it again, just bitching and moaning about both of their fucking stupid shit. And then you kind of realize in Hollywood that it's honestly no different, because you have one side that they love to make movies and shows that are all about being inclusive and lecturing the viewer. But then when you like hear like stories about what goes on behind the scenes, you find out that they're not that tolerant and they're not the nice guys they claim to be, that they're actually pretty fucking shitty. And then you have the other side where they try to make a movie where they're like degrading a specific type of person, or they like try to like make a message that's like showing like, yeah, patriotism, fuck you hippies, bleh, America. And then you find out they're just genuine fucking pieces of shit. Like, let's be honest, like, does anyone actually like Hollywood executives? Like like here's the thing, I don't have a problem with a lot of people living in Hollywood. I'm sure there's a lot of nice people in Hollywood, right? But ever since I was young, I just always had this hatred of Hollywood. And sometimes it was always kind of just like, and I don't really know why. But it could be like the stories, the stories of Hollywood always being that sleazy little place full of fucking bigwigs that exploited people for all sorts of things about themselves. Like, not only that, but like back in the day, like Hollywood was like a cutthroat thing. There were people who would kill each other for roles to be like producers and directors and all that kind of shit. Like, from my knowledge, I'm pretty sure people in Hollywood even worked with like the mob or whatever the fuck they were called. I don't know, like I don't really know what you call that, like Al Capone type shit, Bugsy Malone and all that, you know. Which the thing is, Hollywood's definitely nowhere near that anymore. Like Hollywood is not this like dangerous place. It's not as exploitative. It kind of is still, and it's just like a place now where you kind of look at it and you just like I just imagine these fucking people in like a sweater vest just like sitting in a director's chair with their like fucking big rimmed glasses, holding they have like a fucking coffee in their hands, and they have their script that they writ in fucking crayon in their left, and they're just like looking at like the set, and they're like getting mad at the actors, like just fucking constantly clapping their hands and being like, hey, don't do that, do not do that, you have to be perfect for this role, shut the fuck up. Like, and it obviously, like, I'm just like being like weirdly irrational about Hollywood, but I genuinely just can't explain why I truly hate Hollywood. And like I said, it could just be like I just don't like the idea of like these suave ass fucking like rich people who like obsess over every little thing when they make these movies. Like their movies are always about like just nothing. Like Hollywood movies are some of the most low effort movies compared to like anything else, because a lot of movies, some movies aren't made in Hollywood, some movies are made like in other places, but it feels like movies that were always made in Hollywood were always like either exploitative or just shit. And I know people right now are like, what the fuck are you talking about? Why are you ranting about Hollywood? What is wrong with you? You're not even making any points. And yeah, I'm not, because I'm not trying to make a point. I'm trying to just explain my strange hatred of Hollywood. This hatred of a place that probably doesn't deserve hatred exactly. Or, well, let's be honest. Hollywood deserves hatred for some things. There are some things that Hollywood has done, but that can be said about like any place in general. But there's just something about Hollywood that has always rubbed me the wrong way ever since I was young. And to this day, I feel like I have an idea of why I hate it, and I kind of talk about it. But then once I get done, I'm like, that doesn't really make sense. But at the end of the day, maybe I don't really hate Hollywood. Maybe there's just something in my brain that is conditioning me to hate Hollywood. But this is just me talking about my hatred of Hollywood, but not really understanding why do I hate Hollywood? Because I don't fully get it. I don't fully know. And I probably never will, because I'm just an idiot. So yeah, this is just a kind of me just talking about a hatred that I don't fully understand myself. Just sound insane. So yeah, whatever.